Welcome to How to Interview Job Candidates Like a Boss and Hire Naturals. My name is Martin Gibbons, I'm the founder of People Maps, and I'm going to take you through this program where you're going to discover how to make fantastic recruitment decisions. So, do you want to hire job candidates with confidence? You want to know that every time you do it, you know you're making the right decision. You see, rectifying a bad recruitment decision, well, it can take months, sometimes even years to recover that position. And the trouble is that during that process, it makes everyone's life miserable. Your staff, your clients, yourself. It's not a good thing to live with. The other thing is that, of course, hiring staff is time consuming and it's costly. So you really do want to get it right. Many people find themselves from time to time in a position where they spend weeks looking at and recruiting a new person, only to see that person quit after a few days or a few weeks, and they have to begin the whole process over again. It's extremely expensive and painful. So that's what we're going to try and avoid, and we're going to look at how you can make recruitment decisions. In this short course, you're going to discover some fantastic tips, real life stuff that I've been using with my clients for years and years that will help you make better hiring decisions with greater confidence. And the truth is that even if you're using a good recruitment agency, you still have to interview the candidates, and ultimately, of course, the final decision still remains yours. Unfortunately, recruitment can't be abdicated. We can get some help, but we can't abdicate it. So what if I could actually show you a way to hire with confidence? And what if I could show you how to discover who your candidates really are? And what if I could actually show you how to spot great candidates and separate them out from all the tire kickers and the time wasters and the high risk candidates? That's what we're going to be talking about in the next few minutes in this very condensed program. I would really urge you to grab a pen and paper because you will get ideas. There's certainly plenty of things here that you need to jot down and take a note of and go away today and implement right now. So if you're recruiting right now, you can take this away, for the stuff you're going to learn today, and implement it today. So other things like which questions to ask that actually get candidates to open up and reveal who they really are. This is so important, and without this you tend to find that you talk around in circles and you don't come away much wiser at the end of an interview or a process than you began at the beginning. Now here's the thing, good decisions can only be made when you've got good data, otherwise you're just guessing. Knowing what to ask and how to interpret, and this is a critical thing that nobody ever will teach you. There's no course out there that really teaches you how to deal with this. How to interpret the candidate's answers. Well, that's how you get good data. Now, here's a really interesting and essential fact that you may not be aware of. You see, there are some people who will cope with the job that you're offering, but the majority of people will not. And this is regardless of their work experience, skills or qualifications. Now this is something that most people are not aware of, so if you're not sure about this, I would make a note of this, write this one down, regardless of their work experience. Okay. Now here's the thing, there are two types of job candidate. There are naturals and there are forced fits. And if you want to keep your staff turnover low, then you need to hire staff that can actually last the test of time. And the truth is that only naturals can cope with your job, the job that you're specifically offering, for any length of time, beyond a few weeks, maybe a few months at most. So if you want to hire staff that can consistently deliver an excellent performance and excel in their role, then again, you really need to hire naturals. You see, while forced fits have to invest a lot of energy just to cope with the environment that you're putting them into work, naturals use that same energy to thrive and excel in the job. So that then leaves us with one big question then. How to spot naturals? Well, to spot naturals, you need two critical pieces of information. First thing you need is this psychological analysis of the actual work environment that you are offering. And then the second thing you need is the personality type of the candidate. Now, this is very similar to how gardeners and farmers operate. It's all about matching the plants to the soil. If you want to take this analogy, it's a very simple analogy, but it works very closely. You see, it doesn't matter how much the gardener wants to put a certain plant into certain soil. If that soil is not suitable for that plant, it's just not going to work out. The plant will never thrive. It might survive, it might not die, but it's not going to excel. Different plants really need different soil. They need different environments. Some need more shade, some need more light. There's all sorts of things. Well, humans are even more complex than plants, but the same basic principle applies. And although that plants can kind of cope with a bit more shade than they like, and they can cope with soil that they don't like, they never really thrive. They maybe never flower. They never get that big or bushy. And it's the same with humans. So what we're really looking at here is trying to do this as well as a good gardener would do this. So again, like most good gardeners, you need some tools. And the first tool we're going to talk about here is a thing called Success Profile Builder. Now, this powerful tool analyzes your actual work environment. So what you're presented with, you get a questionnaire. As the line manager, someone who's intimate with that work environment, you're presented with a questionnaire. And this questionnaire, you've answered it. It only takes 5-10 minutes. It's very simple. But it allows the system to analyze your actual work environment. And from that, the system can calculate the type of people that can actually cope with it. And just as importantly, who cannot cope. So Success Profile Builder will actually show you exactly what your naturals look like. And they vary, of course, from job to job, from place to place. Not every job is the same. Not everyone's a natural or not a natural. It's purely this combination. But what you want are the people who can cope with your work environment. Now, the report has some text and some various other things which we'll go into here. But the key thing I'm going to show you is the map. And what you will get as part of the report is a map like the one on the left here. This is the People Maps personality map. And what it shows you is the general area where you're most likely to find your naturals. And what we're seeing here is a map that's highlighting the northwest. Now, this is just an example, of course. Now, even within the northwest, that's a pretty broad church as regards there's quite a diverse range of personalities even within the northwest. However, what it's giving you an indication is the people up, if you've got a candidate and they're located in the northwest, then there's a good chance that they will cope pretty well with your work environment. Everybody else, someone from the northeast, the southeast, or even the southwest, will struggle more with your work environment than people from the northwest. This is what this diagram tells us. So now your job's quite simple. You now know what kind of soil you've got, if you can want to keep that analogy going, and you now need to look at, okay, so what are each of my job candidates, what are they like? And what you see here on the left hand side, you see a map of the job candidate, and you can see their flag is up here in the northeast. Okay, see the wee flag up here. And in this example, so what we've got here from the Success Profile Builder is it's indicating that in this case here, we'd be looking for people in the southwest. Well, clearly you can see that this candidate is a long way from the southwest and therefore would not be the first choice. I would prioritise people who are candidates who are located in this area, and only if I couldn't find what I was looking for there would I start to expand. But to be honest, it's unlikely I would look outside of this area. If it was up to me, I would just keep going until I found some candidates that I liked in this area. So you now have a prioritised list of who to interview. You now know where you're likely to find your naturals, and of course your best prospects. That's half the job done. That's probably the biggest part. You're no longer flying blind. You're no longer just guessing your way through. You're actually using some real data to help you make some very big decisions. And now we need to just figure out how to interview like a boss. Now, as a manager of a small to medium-sized business, the chances are that you have little or no training on how to interview. This is most common. Almost all of my clients, and I've dealt with many clients over the years, I'm not sure that any of them have had any formal training outside of anything that I have shared with them when it comes to recruitment and how to go about doing that. Practical stuff. So you would not be alone if that was your case too. Yet, I have to say that interviewing successfully is a really tough job. I sometimes do help clients with, my high-end clients. I have sat in rooms for whole weekends at a time helping them interview candidates, and it's extremely difficult. And one of the reasons for that is because there's a lot of psychology at play. You see, people are complex. You are complex. I am complex. Your candidates are complex. And when you put two people together in a very artificial situation like a job interview, well, the psychology just goes really complex. And therefore it's so easy to get it wrong and hire the wrong candidate. So this is why People Maps created a series of personality-centric interview guides, which we call Interview Pro. So the whole series is called Interview Pro, and these are each designed to interview job candidates. And instead of just giving you a general personality report that you use and you have to go and interpret and figure out, what we decided to do was write it like an interview guide, a step-by-step, so that you don't need to know anything. You just need to follow the guide and you will get the data that you need from that candidate to make your hiring decision. Now, what you can see here is that they're basically labelled by sort of job title. So we've got hospitality, customer service, admin and planning, IT and engineering, management and team leader, sales. There's about a dozen in the range, and we do add to it regularly, so it may be updated even since you see this video. Now, if you do not find one that matches or comes close to it, doesn't need to be an exact fit to your job title. Naturally, there are thousands of job titles out there, but just find something that you feel is kind of in the same line to what you do, or what this job is about. And failing that, if you don't find that, then use the general report design. There's one that's called General, and simply it will give you a personality report and it will still guide you through. So no matter what the job is, there is a report there that you can use. As I say, you would pick the one most resembles the job title you're talking about. Now, what's in each report? Well, as I say, they're written as an interview guide and they're about 15 to 25 pages long. You don't need to print them off. You can just save them as a PDF and attach that to an email or send it to the line manager, or if it's yourself, you just save it to your phone and you can read your PDF on your phone or on your iPad, or you might want to go old school and print it off. It's entirely up to you. It will tell you about the candidate's personality, because of course fundamentally this is a personality report, but it's written in the style of an interview guide. And that means it provides you with specific questions to ask each candidate, and these are generally personality centric, and more importantly, it also tells you how to interpret the candidate's answers, what to look for in their answers, because remember, this is all about gathering data. So whilst the report will give you data about that candidate in terms of their personality, it will also, I think the real power here is when you use it as a key to the door rather than just the door. So if you use the report to open up the door, then you get into a room absolutely full of data about that candidate, and that's even more valuable. Also within each report is the map. Every single report has the People Maps personality map, which is like this wee desert island here. You don't need to understand the map, you don't need any training on the map. It's purely here to help you refer to candidates and compare. So specifically when you're comparing them against your success profile, and that's all you really need to do. You don't need to know any more about the map. We do provide advanced training elsewhere for those that are very interested in the subject, but it's not essential at all. And in addition to the map, you will also find the gauges, and that's these gauges here. Now, each report has several gauges, and what the gauges do is they give a score from 0 to 100 on a very specific aspect of personality. So for instance, in this example here, this candidate has been measured on their willingness to cold call on the telephone, and we can see they're scoring 69, which is not too bad. Other things that are included within the reports are, so here's an example, if you like, from management and team leader. Now, each report is different. There'll be some common things, so there might be more than one report that also talks about communication, because that's quite a common issue. But if we look at the management and team leader, for instance, it has admin. So how does this person, are they any good at admin? Does it come to them naturally, or is it a real chore? Their communication style, their decision making. Now, if you've got a manager and you're about to hire someone in a management role, then you really want to know, how do they make decisions? Can they make decisions? Because that's a fundamental skill when it comes to management, and it's not something that you're going to discover in their CV or their qualifications. Other things like delegation, leadership style. How do they manage others? Their ability to plan themselves and others, their ability to plan resources. All of that is included in the report. It's a mine of information and data, and each of it you can use to get more data too. Project management, influencing skills and the ability to work under pressure. As you can see, each report is packed full of information about that candidate that no way in the world any CV is ever going to give you anything like this type of insight into that candidate. The gauges themselves, I say there's several gauges in each report. All the gauges are different types of gauges in the management one, and that's all we're looking at. It's just looking at management and team leadership as an example of one of the dozen reports. But it talks about things like, are they good at making decisions? They prefer to make decisions rather than others make them. They're optimistic, natural attention to detail, ability to remain calm under pressure. And that's just, I think, half the gauges for that one report. The gauges are wonderful because you can literally see at a glance low scores and high scores. So it's visually very quick and very easy to see. Now, I did say that's unusual, but there is no mandatory training required, no hidden costs in training. You literally could be up and running and interviewing candidates within the next 10-20 minutes if you so wished. The reports are jargon free so that you can actually print them off, walk into an interview and conduct the most meaningful, insightful interview you could ever imagine. So think of this as step-by-step interviews. So even the most inexperienced interviewer can conduct a most meaningful and insightful interview. All you need to do is go through each report step by step, ask the questions and follow the instructions and the guidelines in the report. I would also encourage you to quote some extracts to the candidate, just a sentence or two here or there. Anything that catches your eye that you find is interesting, quote it to them, ask if they agree with the statement or not. That's fine, they don't need to agree or disagree, it doesn't matter. Whatever they say, you want to use it to get them to open up and reveal more about themselves. Remember, we're here to get data. That's the purpose of this. So I say, not only is this like a door, but it's also like a key to a bigger door in a bigger room. The other thing that the report can do is help you remain objective. Humans are not objective by nature. We are completely subjective creatures. And what the report does is it helps you remain a little more objective. You see, you will want to hire the candidate that will give the best interview, but that's not necessarily the candidate that's going to be best at the job. So it's difficult to separate these two out, and you therefore need a little objectivity, and the report can bring that into the equation. And we said earlier on that good interviews, good hiring decisions are all about great data. So this report, you need to use this and can use this to get candidates to drop their guard and willingly provide you with the data that you need. Remember earlier on we said that an interview is a terribly artificial environment. So getting candidates to relax, to drop their guard and actually reveal who they really are and provide you with data that you can actually use is very difficult and rarely happens in most interviews. However, with this report and a little patience on your side, you can get that level of data. Okay, so now you know how to interview like a boss. How do you get your new employees, and let's say you've been through the process, you've went, great, I've interviewed 5, I know who I want to hire, I've hired them, fantastic. Well, it doesn't end there because you're still in the risk zone. You may have made a mistake. You need to know not only that, but you also need to get them to perform. So the big question now is, how do you get your new employees not to quit whilst performing at their best? And that's what we'll look at here. So the first thing you need to know is, why do people quit their job? Well, there's simply, it all boils down to 2 main reasons that people quit their job. The first one is that they are a forced fit. They're not a natural. You see, because when you hire a forced fit, not only does it make your life miserable, but it makes their life difficult too. It's a lose-lose scenario. When you hire a natural, it's a win-win scenario. Everybody's winning. And the second reason is that mainly they do not get along with their boss. In a large survey, over 7,000 people by Gallup, 51% of people cited their manager as the reason that they quit their job. And in most cases, other cases that's not covered with these 2 scenarios, you'll find that the wrong person was hired in the first place, i.e. it was a forced fit. Now, managers have a really tough job. They need to be extremely good at what they do to keep staff turnover down and to get new employees performing well. It's a tall order. And the truth is, they usually have to do it within days or weeks. You don't have a lot of time. Not in our world today. Maybe 20, 30 years ago it was different, but these days you need new people up and performing at a high level fast. It's a difficult thing for any manager to achieve. So this is why PeopleMap's developed Onboarding Pro. What it does is it actually helps the line managers to get the best from their new employees, and it reduces the chances of the new employees quitting prematurely. Most people quit within 6 weeks to 6 months, which is the worst time of all because they've wasted a lot of your time, all your other candidates have gone, and you've spent time and energy training them, and then they leave and you're back to square one. It's a painful, painful place, and you do not want to be there. So whatever you can do that helps reduce the chances of someone quitting, that's going to save you a fortune, both in time and money. And the way to think about this is, it's like the user manual. If you bought a washing machine, you would get a user manual with it. And believe me, the people that you're hiring are way more complex than any washing machine. So what this does is, it's like the user manual. It's about the new employee, but it's for the benefit of the line manager to help and guide them through the day-to-day stuff of managing that new employee. Now again, this report's about 15 pages long, and what it does, it explains to the line manager what to do to get the best from their new employee, and just as importantly, what they must avoid doing. Those simple things that drive some people out the door. The types of things, the subjects that it talks about, and say, remember this is a personality report, so it's specific to each new employee. So it will cover things like how to create their ideal work environment, the small tweaks and changes that a manager can make that really delights an employee, how to communicate. All of us have different preferred communication styles, so how we communicate with someone really affects the relationship and how they perform. How to lead and manage. We can modify, tweak our management style a little to suit employees to get the best from them. And remember, it's all about getting better results. Even things like how to reduce stress, how to motivate, how to reprimand, and even how to work through someone's natural strengths. All of this is covered in Onboarding Pro, and you could work with someone for 10 years and 20 years and not know any of this and continually make a hash of it. However, with Onboarding Pro, you can know all of this within a few minutes about the newest employee and avoid making all those mistakes that we tend to make. So use Onboarding Pro to empower and support your managers. It's a tough job. Give them all the tools they need to do it well. Okay, so that concludes this crash course on how to interview like a boss. What you need to do now is try it for yourself, and I would urge you to go and try this fantastic tool for yourself, and you can try it for a mere £10. For just £10, you may read your own Interview Pro report and actually judge for yourself how accurate it is and how it will help you to interview like a boss. For just £10, you gain immediate access and you may select any of the 10 Interview Pro report designs. So if you're working on something this now, pick that one, give it a try. It's really that straightforward. For just £10, you could be hiring naturals instead of taking a chance in your recruitment. Don't guess your way when it comes to recruitment. It's too risky, it's too expensive to get wrong. Give yourself every chance to make the right hiring decisions. And for just £10, you will be joining one of the thousands of organisations that already have a PeopleMaps account. And here's just one testimonial from Arctic, who have been using PeopleMaps on and off for years and simply would not recruit anyone without using PeopleMaps. So go over now, just follow the links on the site, click and order your trial today, and you could be up and running and interviewing candidates within the next half hour. It's really that simple. Don't worry about training, there's no extra training. You've covered big training here, but to be honest, how you use the control room and that sort of stuff, there's a 4 or 5 minute video which will literally show you, click here, click there it is. It's very straightforward. It's designed to be user friendly, no software to install, nothing to download. You simply log in and follow the very basic instructions. You will be up and running within 10 minutes of getting your account. It's that straightforward. So that's it. Go and try it yourself. Do not take my word for it. Try it for £10. Read your own report. You will simply be amazed at what you can discover about candidates and just how much you can improve your recruitment process.